To be honest, I didn't think I'd ever enjoy dying so much. Released in 2012, Spelunky is a remastered version of the 2008 freeware game of the same name. It's a roguelike indie game that's all about fighting enemies, avoiding traps, and of course, getting filthy rich. With the sequel on its way relatively soon, I figured now would be a great time to talk about why I love this game so much. I might as well just get right to talking about the gameplay, as there's a hell of a lot to unpack. Basically, you play as a spelunker, and you're trying to collect as much loot as possible before you make it out of the cave. That is, if you make it out. Each new run faces you up against randomly generated levels, each filled with enemies and traps to stop you from progressing. However, if you can make it to and defeat the final boss Olmec, then you win, and if you don't, well, you'll just have to try again. You're not going to be able to get through the cave without any equipment, that's for sure. Luckily, your character comes with plenty to help you get started on your adventure. Of course, there's your trusty whip, which is the default weapon that you can always use. This, of course, helps defend yourself against the various baddies that await you during your little expedition. You also start the game with 4 bombs and 4 ropes respectively. The bombs, as you might expect, can blast through walls to help you navigate the level. They can also be used as weaponry too, dealing massive damage to whatever they explode on. Your ropes act as a navigation tool, allowing you to descend safely or to make it to places that are otherwise out of reach. That's all well and good, but there's also a lot of other equipment that you can collect while playing the game. There's machetes and shotguns, as well as more utilitarian tools like the pickaxe or the spider paste, that improves your bomb's capabilities by allowing them to stick to whatever they touch. You can find this stuff in various places. You can find them in supply crates scattered around the levels, you can make sacrifices to Kali on one of these altars, and you can also find items in the shops. You can choose to purchase the items from these shops with the loot you've collected, or you could be greedy and steal them, but you gotta be careful, since the shopkeepers get pissed off when you take their stuff. Who would have thought? Once you take one thing from a shop, you'll have an angry, shotgun-wielding shopkeeper waiting for you at the end of each level. One of the best items you can get is the Cup of Kali, which you can get by making enough sacrifices to Kali's altars. You can fill up the cup with the blood of your enemies, and in turn get health back. In a game where everything is out to get you, extra health is no small bonus. It will help you to last a lot longer and make it a lot further. Aside from all the special stuff that I've just mentioned, there's also other seemingly boring items scattered around the levels, like rocks or pots, but these also have major utility. Almost every object in the game that you can pick up can be used as a deadly projectile, and can definitely help you to get out of a tough situation. There are lots of times where you have to use your brain to find the best way out of a pickle, so every resource that you have at your disposal becomes important. Of course, all these items wouldn't feel so fun to play with if your character didn't control well, but fortunately, this game delivers. Movement is incredibly smooth and precise, and never feels unfair or stiff. It doesn't take long to get used to maneuvering your character down each and every level. Speaking of levels, one of this game's biggest selling points is its level variety. There are different level areas, such as the mines or the ice caves, each with their own sets of unique enemies and traps. But on top of that, the levels are all randomly generated each time you start the game. With the layout of the game being different every time, there's a lot of incentive to keep playing and discover more of the game. As you get better and better the more you play, there's a lot of techniques you can learn that make the game a lot more deep. You can learn to use your whip to stop dart traps, use your shotgun to boost yourself up to ledges, max out your health with the Cup of Kali, or ghosting vaults, which uses the ghost that shows up at the end of each level if you spend too much time in it. Whenever the ghost hovers over any normal gemstone, it turns into a diamond worth $5,000 each. This is a great way to increase your score tenfold. And before I wrap things up, it would be a mistake if I didn't mention this game's incredible sound design. There's no shortage of great tracks and satisfying gush sounds from whipping monsters. It only adds to the experience as a whole. Spelunky also comes with other modes besides just the main adventure mode. There's the daily challenge, where you compete against other players for the top score in a seeded run. This is a great place to compare your skill to the rest of the Spelunky community. There's also local multiplayer as well. You can play adventure mode in co-op, although it can get quite hectic, and you can face your friends in a customizable deathmatch. You can choose to play in a bunch of different arenas with whatever kinds of weapons you want. Unfortunately, there is no online play, which is a bummer, but thankfully Spelunky 2 will be getting this added. Anyway, that's why I like this game. You'll be spending hours trying to make your way out of Spelunky's caves, and when you finally do, you'll only want to do it again. I definitely recommend picking this one up if you haven't already. Peace.